Jonathan Kuminga's story with the Golden State Warriors is one of both promise and tension. Drafted in 2021 as the 7th overall pick, he arrived with the reputation of being one of the most athletic and explosive forwards of his class. The Warriors, then fresh off years of championship dominance, saw him as the bridge between their aging dynasty and a new generation. But 4 seasons later, instead of blossoming into the face of the franchise, Kuminga now finds himself described by insiders as absolutely miserable in Golden State. His frustrations with limited playing time, inconsistent trust from the coaching staff, and stalled contract negotiations have brought the relationship to a breaking point. This script explores, in detail, the issues tearing both sides apart, and why separation now feels inevitable. When Kuminga first joined the Warriors, expectations were high. His athleticism, defensive potential, and flashes of scoring made him a tantalizing prospect. Yet, playing on a team led by Stephen Curry, Klay Thompson, and Draymond Green meant minutes were scarce. Head coach Steve Kerr prioritized veterans who understood his complex motion offense and defensive schemes. Kuminga's minutes often fluctuated wildly. He could play 30 minutes one night and sit on the bench the next. For a young player trying to build confidence, this inconsistency became a major source of frustration. Still, he accepted his role early on, believing patience would pay off. But as the seasons rolled by, the patience began to wear thin. Despite these struggles, Kuminga delivered undeniable moments of brilliance. During the 2024-25 regular season, he averaged 15.3 points, 4.6 rebounds, and 2.2 assists in about 47 games, even after missing 2 months with an ankle injury. In the playoffs, when Stephen Curry was sidelined with injury, Kuminga stepped up in a big way. Against the Minnesota Timberwolves, he averaged nearly 21 points per game over a crucial 5-game stretch. These performances showcased his ability to shine under pressure and fueled his belief that he deserved a larger role. To him, those flashes weren't anomalies. They were proof he was ready to be a cornerstone player. To the Warriors' coaching staff, however, they were still glimpses rather than consistent production. As reports surfaced in summer 2025, the word miserable quickly spread across headlines. Sources close to the player revealed Kuminga felt trapped in Golden State's system. He wanted to play freely, to be trusted as a star, but instead felt like an afterthought behind veterans. For a competitor with ambitions of becoming a multiple-time All-Star, riding the bench in key playoff games was more than frustrating, it was humiliating. The label of being absolutely miserable captured not only his emotions but also the growing sense that this relationship was nearing collapse. The tension boiled over into contract talks. Entering restricted free agency, Kuminga became the focus of Golden State's off-season. The Warriors, wary of luxury tax penalties, offered deals they considered fair. One proposal was a 3-year, $75.2 million contract with a team option on the final year. Another earlier offer had been 2 years for $45 million. On paper, these looked like lucrative deals. But for Kuminga, the fine print mattered more than the numbers. He wanted a player option, granting him the power to decide his future. He wanted protections against being traded without his consent. He wanted to feel like a valued piece, not just a tradable asset. His rejection of these deals sent a strong message: control mattered more than security. The standoff introduced a risky but bold option: the qualifying offer. By accepting a 1-year, $7.9 million contract, Kuminga could play out the 2025-26 season and become an unrestricted free agent in 2026. This would free him from the Warriors' control entirely, giving him the chance to test the open market. But the gamble is dangerous. One injury, one per season, or another year of limited minutes could tank his value. Still, the fact that Kuminga and his camp are seriously considering this option shows the depth of his dissatisfaction. He would rather risk millions than feel trapped in a situation where he has no voice. From the Warriors' perspective, their caution is understandable. Kuminga's talent is unquestioned, but his consistency is not. His perimeter shooting remains streaky. His defensive focus sometimes lapses. His fit within Kerr's motion offense, which thrives on spacing and ball movement, is still imperfect. For an organization that has built its dynasty on trust, sacrifice, and cohesion, giving Kuminga star-level control feels like a gamble. Financially, the Warriors are also stretched thin. With Curry and Green still on large contracts and ownership wary of luxury tax costs, handing Kuminga a deal with full player control could cripple their flexibility. To them, their offers reflect both respect for his talent and a safeguard for the team's future. Inside the locker room, the situation has not gone unnoticed. Reports suggest veterans, including newly acquired Jimmy Butler, have urged management to resolve the issue before training camp. Chemistry has always been a hallmark of the Warriors' success, and dragging contract drama into the season risks disrupting that. Younger players watch closely, seeing how the franchise treats one of their own. Veterans, meanwhile, worry about distractions pulling focus from their championship goals. The tension is real, and it could set the tone for the entire season. Other teams are circling. The Phoenix Suns and Sacramento Kings have expressed interest, and rival front offices are monitoring the standoff closely. A sign-and-trade could provide Golden State with assets while giving Kuminga a fresh start. However, the Warriors have already rejected some offers they deemed unworthy, refusing to take back undesirable contracts or low-value draft picks. The dilemma is clear: trade him too soon and risk losing a future star for cheap, or hold on too long and risk losing him for nothing. For Kuminga, the stakes couldn't be higher. If he bets on himself and wins, he could sign a massive contract next summer with a team that believes in him. He could finally secure the role he craves and fulfill his all-star ambitions. But if he miscalculates, if injuries strike again, or if Kerr limits his role, he risks losing tens of millions in guaranteed money. The decision reflects both his confidence and his desperation. It is a bet not just on his talent, but on his ability to break free from a system that has held him back. Golden State also faces massive risks. Letting Kuminga walk for nothing would be a devastating blow to their future. Trading him for pennies on the dollar would be equally painful. But overcommitting financially could lock them into a contract they regret. For a franchise trying to balance the twilight of Curry's career with the need for young talent, the Kuminga saga represents a crossroads. How they handle it may shape the next decade of Warriors basketball. Several paths remain open. 1. A compromise contract with both team and player options, giving each side some security and some control. 2. Kuminga accepts the qualifying offer, betting on himself and bracing for one last year in Golden State. 3. A blockbuster trade that sends him to a team willing to build around him, reshaping the Warriors' roster in the process. 4. A last-minute reconciliation where both sides agree to move forward and commit to each other long-term. Each path carries consequences, and none guarantees happiness for all involved. The Kuminga Warriors standoff is not just about one player. It reflects broader trends in the NBA, where young stars increasingly demand control earlier in their careers, and where teams must weigh potential against financial risk. It shows the tension between veteran-driven dynasties and the impatience of emerging talent. It highlights how contract structures, team options, player options, restricted free agency, can either build trust or sow division. In many ways, Kuminga's situation is a case study in the modern NBA's power struggle between players and franchises. As training camp approaches, the question remains: will Jonathan Kuminga wear a Warriors jersey much longer? His frustrations are clear, his options are narrowing, and the clock is ticking toward an October deadline. For now, he remains part of Golden State, but the partnership feels fragile. What was once seen as the future of the dynasty may now be slipping away. Whether the final chapter is reconciliation, separation, or something in between, one thing is certain: the saga of Jonathan Kuminga and the Warriors is far from over. And in the high-stakes world of professional basketball, both sides may soon learn that time, patience, and opportunity wait for no one. The Golden State Warriors enter the 2025-26 season with more questions than answers. Their off-season was quiet, painfully quiet. While the rest of the Western Conference shifted pieces across the chessboard, the Warriors stood still, paralyzed by contract negotiations. The Jonathan Kuminga saga loomed large over every decision. At just 22 years old, Kuminga is the bridge to tomorrow. Yet his restricted free agency has created a stalemate. Extend him? Trade him? Gamble on another year of waiting? The front office has yet to decide. This silence speaks volumes. For a franchise defined by boldness drafting Curry, trading for Iguodala, chasing Kevin Durant in free agency, this hesitation feels uncharacteristic. But perhaps it is also deliberate. Because beneath the surface, the Warriors are preparing for something much bigger than today's struggles. Stephen Curry, Jimmy Butler, Draymond Green. Legends, leaders, fighters. Each of them is north of 35, and each of them knows time is undefeated. Curry still dazzles with deep threes and jaw-dropping efficiency, but even he cannot carry the load forever. Butler, a mid-career arrival, was supposed to inject fresh toughness into the roster. Instead, he finds himself grinding through wear and tear, his body reminding him of the battles he has already fought. Draymond remains the emotional heartbeat, but his defense and playmaking are not as sharp as they once were. Together, they embody the heart of a dynasty in its twilight. Contracts expire in 2027. By then, the Warriors could either be on the verge of rebirth or collapse. Across the league, rivals have wasted no time in sharpening their weapons. Houston shocked the world by reuniting with Kevin Durant, adding firepower to a roster already bursting with youthful confidence. Oklahoma City retained its championship-winning core, sending a message that their reign is no fluke. The Clippers and Nuggets reloaded, adding critical depth to weather the grind of an 82-game season and beyond. The West has grown stronger, deeper, and more ruthless. And in this battlefield, Golden State risks being left behind. For a team that once dictated the style of basketball to the entire league, standing still feels like surrender. Joe Lacob and Mike Dunleavy Jr. know this. They are not blind to the storm around them. The Warriors' books are heavy now, expensive veterans, young players needing extensions, luxury tax penalties. But beyond the burden lies opportunity. By 2027, Curry, Butler, and Draymond come off the books. Suddenly, the cap sheet is light. Moses Moody's $13.4 million, Buddy Hield's $10.1 million, perhaps an extension for Podziemski. That's it. Flexibility is the key word. This is why they wait. Why they hesitate. The Warriors are playing the long game. And here lies the dream. Giannis Antetokounmpo. Nikola Jokic. Two names that ignite hope in every franchise. Two players who could shift the balance of power in an instant. According to The Athletic, Golden State is monitoring both situations carefully. Both superstars have player options in 2027. Both could, at least theoretically, walk away from contracts worth over $60 million a year. The odds are slim. Superstars rarely hit the open market. More often, they sign extensions or demand trades before reaching free agency. Yet history offers possibilities. Kevin Durant did it in 2016. LeBron James has done it multiple times. If Giannis or Jokic were to look for a new challenge, a new legacy, why not San Francisco? Why not the Warriors? Imagine Jokic orchestrating Golden State's offense, a point center blending seamlessly with the motion principles that define their dynasty. Imagine Giannis in the Bay, a defensive anchor and unstoppable force in transition, paired with whatever remains of Curry's brilliance. The thought alone is enough to keep fans awake at night dreaming. But dreams carry risk. What if either player leaves? What if extensions keep them tethered to Milwaukee and Denver? Then Golden State could find itself in 2027 with cap space but no star, aging legends retired, and a fanbase staring into the abyss of a rebuild. On the other hand, the rewards are massive. Landing one of those names would extend the dynasty another decade. It would transform San Francisco into the epicenter of basketball once again. It would prove that the Warriors are not just a dynasty of the past, but also a dynasty of the future. So here they stand. Stuck in the present. Dreaming of the future. Waiting for the right move. The Warriors' story is not finished. It is suspended between eras. The echoes of Curry's three-point barrage is still fresh, the promise of another superstar perhaps on the horizon. Will Giannis or Jokic wear blue and gold? Will Kuminga become the face of a new generation? Or will Golden State fade quietly, a dynasty remembered but never reborn? Only time will tell. But one thing is certain. The Warriors will never stop hunting for greatness. Their identity is not just about winning championships. It is about chasing the impossible. And in 2027, the impossible might just walk through their door. Golden State's front office has been operating with urgency this offseason. With Steph Curry, Draymond Green, and Jimmy Butler all aging but still competitive, there's a strong push to maximize the next couple of years. At the center of many rumors is the question, can they upgrade around the current core enough to contend again, or will they risk rerouting parts of their young core, especially Jonathan Kuminga? In ambitious trades, Giannis Antetokounmpo, the big dream move. One of the biggest names thrown into Warriors trade talk is Giannis Antetokounmpo. The idea of pairing him with Curry and Butler is tantalizing for many fans and analysts. Reports suggest the Warriors have long coveted Giannis, viewing him as the ultimate complement to an aging Curry, elite two-way size, dominant defensive presence, mismatch nightmare in the paint. However, insiders caution this is extremely unlikely in the near term. The Bucks reportedly are not entertaining offers, have made no indication Giannis has requested a trade saying to the Warriors or to any team. For Golden State to pull it off, they would need to include prime assets, Kuminga, draft picks, perhaps others, plus take on salary or undesirable contracts. And given their own payroll constraints, they may not have enough trade capital without seriously hurting depth. In short, Giannis remains a dream scenario more than a realistic one, unless something dramatic changes in the Bucks' internal situation or Giannis himself demands it. Josh Giddey and Al Horford, veteran targets plus roster balance. Another rumor track involves Josh Giddey and Al Horford. The Warriors are reportedly eyeing veteran frontcourt help to compensate for the wear and tear on Green, Butler, etc., and to bolster defensive rebounding, interior versatility, and locker room leadership. Al Horford, still a serviceable veteran big, is often mentioned. As for Giddey, his recent contract situation with the Bulls has thrown off balance across the league. His 4-year, $100 million deal in Chicago now serves as a benchmark for restricted free agents, including Kuminga. The Warriors may view Giddey as an ideal backcourt partner with Curry, someone who can handle creation duties, let Curry play off-ball more, relieve some burden. But getting him may require creative structuring or sign-and-trade work. Jonathan Kuminga, key piece or trade asset? At the heart of many of these scenarios is Jonathan Kuminga. Kuminga is a restricted free agent this offseason. The Warriors have reportedly offered a 2-year, $45 million contract with a team option for the second year. Kuminga's camp, however, desires a more lucrative and longer-term deal, one that gives him a bigger role, more touches, more offense. This holdout or negotiation impasse has ripple effects. It delays the Warriors in filling out their roster with veterans like Al Horford. It raises the question, if the Warriors think they might go after someone like Giannis or Giddey in a trade, Kuminga becomes part of the currency. He is one of their few young assets with upside that other franchises value. So is Kuminga likely to leave? The reports suggest the most probable outcome, for now, is that he will take the qualifying offer, which he is strongly considering, and stay with Golden State for the upcoming season. It gives him the chance to prove himself, and gives the Warriors flexibility. But if the opportunity arises, a sign-and-trade could happen. Possible scenario maps. 1. Warriors go all-in for Giannis. They trade Kuminga, some draft picks, perhaps other young pieces and part of their salary cap. They move big pieces, maybe Draymond or others, to make space. The roster is retooled around Curry/Butler/Giannis for a short window. 2. Mid-tier upgrades plus internal development. Warriors decide Giannis isn't feasible, instead aim to sign veterans like Horford, retain Kuminga via qualifying offer or shorter deal, focus on depth, defensive rebounding, perimeter defense, etc. 3. Trade for Giddey plus send out Kuminga. A compromise. Bring in a younger guard who can share playmaking duties. Use Kuminga as trade asset to make payroll and roster balance work. Assessing likelihood. The Giannis trade path is the least likely of those listed. Bucks seem reluctant to move him. Demands will be steep. Warriors would have to give up too much, and possibly sacrifice future flexibility. The Giddey plus veteran big route is more plausible. It depends on whether negotiations with Kuminga push them to find better alternatives and whether the Warriors can make contracts align. Kuminga staying under a qualifying offer seems like the baseline scenario, especially since no better long-term contract seems likely at this moment given the market and Warriors' cap situation. So, in summary, everything points to a jam-packed offseason filled with rumors, but the Warriors' most realistic path may be modest improvements rather than a blockbuster move like Giannis. Kuminga's contract standoff is central. Whether he stays, under what deal, or whether he becomes trade leverage, it likely decides how big or small Golden State's ambitions can be. Veterans like Al Horford may come in as auxiliary pieces. Giddey could be pursued, especially if bigger stories stall. But at this the 2025/2026 NBA season is almost here, and all eyes are once again on the Golden State Warriors. A franchise that defined dominance throughout the 2010s now stands at a crossroads, experienced, battle-tested, and carrying the weight of expectations, but also adapting to new realities. This year feels different, not just because Stephen Curry is still the beating heart of the roster, not just because Draymond Green continues to anchor the defense, but because the Warriors made one of the boldest moves of the offseason, bringing in Jimmy Butler. Add to that the development of Moses Moody and a reshaped supporting cast, and suddenly Golden State looks both familiar and refreshingly new. Part 1. The core players. 1. Stephen Curry, the eternal engine. At 37, Steph Curry remains the identity of Golden State basketball. His shooting gravity warps defenses like no other, forcing opponents to guard him 30 feet from the rim. The upcoming season will test how much fuel Curry still has in the tank, but make no mistake, when Curry is on the floor, Golden State believes they can beat anyone. His leadership, conditioning, and relentless work ethic continue to set the tone for the younger players. 2. Draymond Green, the defensive brain. Draymond's voice, IQ, and versatility define the Warriors' defense. While he may not be the same athlete he was in 2016, his ability to orchestrate switches, protect the paint, and guide teammates makes him irreplaceable. His chemistry with Curry still powers the famous pick and roll, and his playmaking from the top of the key ensures the offense flows. 3. Jimmy Butler, the new Warrior. Perhaps the biggest storyline, the arrival of Jimmy Butler.